Hi everyone, Spotkin here, and it might have been a long time, just a little bit. Honestly, the biggest reason I'm making this video is that I ran out of excuses since I graduated from uni and got nothing better to do. Anyway, you saw the title of this video. Today, I want to talk about Crash Twinsanity's engine scripting system, which TD Oxford called AgentLab. Now, it is very interesting, as what we basically have here is this. If we were able to change the game scripts, we have the ability to change game's logic, and create our own logic to expand the game without even having to recompile the game's code at all. Such an idea fascinated me, and so, January this year, I had inspiration, and spent a whole month straight reverse engineering AgentLab. The script structure, however, isn't simple, and changing even a single byte can easily result in a game crash because of how tight and complex the script structure is. Thus, I decided to take a different approach through the game code directly. I took a decompiler, Ghidra, and used the Emotion Engine plugin for it to decompile Twinsanity's binary code. If you don't know, Emotion Engine is the name of PS2 CPU that runs the code. I'm not gonna make an in-depth technical explanation here on the entire process, but do tell if you want me to make a separate video on that. To be completely honest, before this, I had zero prior experience to reverse engineering foreign code, and at the start, my brain was surely melting from the amount of information I had to take in, the assembly, the C code that Ghidra generated, and mind you, the game's original code was written in C++, which didn't help at all. Fast forward to the end of the month, and I had managed to somewhat reverse the algorithm that was loading scripts from the game's archives. The algorithm seemed complex, with many recursive function calls, a lot of structs, and pointers being everywhere. So what I did for a test is took that algorithm and replicated it in a test program on C++ that would output me a JSON representation of script structure, replicating exactly what the game does. Let's just say that results were not the best, and so I just kind of left it like that. Now, it's been quite some time, and I was busy with my thesis, which I wasn't really doing anyway. The whole pandemic started, I graduated from uni, and it was already July when Cameron Sawaya published an interview with Crash Twinsanity's developer Kingsley Stephens. One of the questions was about AgentLab and what it was. Stephens' reply was, and I quote, "It wasn't a scripting language as such, with a visual finite state machine editor. You could click to add states, link states together with percepts, add actions to percepts, etc. States could be hierarchical. It was used to script the behavior of all the enemies, most boss fights, and to run the cutscenes." Now, if you don't know what FSM, short for finite state machine, is, well, in very basic terms, you have an object performing actions depending on its current state. Said state changes when a given condition is met. For example, we have an object in an idle state. Let's say it notices the player and thus switches to a chase state, and when it loses sight of the player it comes back to the idle state. This is what AgentLab is, in very simple terms, but in AgentLab's case it is not the object being in some state, but the logic, since objects can run not just one script at a time. This allows for a very flexible system for fast and rapid prototyping of different behaviors. Don't ask me why, but I didn't have my mind on Twinsanity at the time, so I didn't pay much attention nor decided to consider how that would help us with reverse engineering AgentLab, but it will be important later on. Now, we arrive at August 14th when the legend himself Kesha, who created the original Twinsanity editor, came back and wished to look at AgentLab personally. I've given him all the info I managed to get through the game's code back in January. Combining it with the information of what AgentLab exactly is, sure enough, my code from C++ was quickly transferred to C# for the revamped Twinsanity editor. However, the biggest problem with AgentLab is that it uses a couple of big tables that are used to determine what action is needed to be taken and what condition needs to be met to switch states. So I dumped the entire tables, and while that may not seem the most elegant way, it's the best we got currently and it's working mostly fine at the moment. So here we are, a new Crash Twinsanity editor which allows us to mess with scripts. What's next, you may ask? Well, we need to figure out what each command can do and what conditions there are. See, there are over 700 entries in a command table, and right now we know barely any of them. Same goes for the conditions. I will show a workflow I currently use to modify the game and compile it back to play and test the changes. I recommend always keeping a clean backup of your ISO in case something goes terribly wrong, since currently there's no way to undo your changes in the editor. And here's the editor, which is now getting rewritten in C# and is open source. To get the game's files, use the BDBH tool to extract to the desired location. After the extraction finishes, open the chunk you wish to modify and proceed to the code section. Open up the script section, then right-click and select Open Editor. Here, select the script you wish to modify and change some values. Here, I open the default.rb2, which is one of the startup files. The game loads up global objects like Wumpas, boxes, and such. One of the known, but not fully understood commands is 512, which spawns an instance of an object. How about we make a box spawn more boxes when we land on it? The basic box ID is free, so we replace Wumpas ID of 1 to free. Now, let's make it when the Crash spins, it spawns a box on top of him, which requires adding a command to Crash's spinning script. As you can see, the editor tells you if you didn't provide enough information given the ID of the command. So let's put the needed bytes and put ID free as our spawn object. Next, use the BDVH tool again to pack the archives back. After this process, we need to create the image of the game. I recommend using BetaM's crate mod loader, as it allows to easily create an image of the game using a mod crate. I also recommend this setup for a mod crate. Create your mod folder and put in a Lawyer 0 folder, which has Crash 6 folder in it, and put the game archives here. Create mod crate info text file so that the program can recognize the folder, and where you can put in your name, description and version if you need to. After that, select the game's original image and the destination where you want the modded game to be at. Select your mod crate and press the start button. When the image finishes being created, you can launch it in the emulator to test the results. As you can see, this all works without the game crashing, but do be careful with boxes spawning to boxes, because the game will crash if too many objects are present. If you wish to contribute to the Twinsanity editor and the research, do be sure to check out GitHub. As mentioned, right now it is very crucial to find what every command does and what conditions exist. Feel free to experiment and even try to create your own scripts. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Links to the resources such as Create Mod Loader can be found in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you all in the next video. Happy Twinsanity modding!